following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
What's up, Antman?
What's going on? What's going on?
It's been great. It was my birthday weekend.
Yes,
so
I know.
I got to celebrate.
21, right?
No, 22. Let's
22,
give it to.
right.
Let's be real about it, okay?
How many years have we been 21, and now we're going to 22? Just kidding. What's going on, Roxy? What's going on, girl? How you been?
Oh, I've been amazing. Living the life, you know.
Man, I was under the weather, dude. Like, I was good yesterday. Like, everything was straight. I hung out with the kids. I did the daddy thing, you know, did the life thing. And then last night on my way home, I was like, man, I'm so hungry. And then I stopped at Taco Bell. And I realized in my 38 years on this planet, Taco Bell and I finally officially are breaking up.
Oh, no, don't do that. It's 1 out of every 10 experiences. You know this, right?
Is it really?
Yes,
1 out of every 10?
1 out of every 10. Taco Bell will get you down. So
Wow.
you can't give up.
That should be a t-shirt. 1 in every 10. Like, maybe we can
1 in every 10 tacos or chalupas.
Oh, right. You know, maybe we can monetize this somehow. We can create like handles for toilets, like RA Nation on the side of them, and they just suction to the. Yeah. Anyway, so you know, it's an opportunity. But no, it's been fun, man. I've been under the weather today, so I'm kind of been laying on the radar. I haven't been doing any promoting, and so I feel really horrible. So I'm sorry. I owe you an apology.
You don't need to apologize. We're all human, and we go through it. We all do. We really do.
Man, so we got a mascot with us tonight. I can tell.
Mascot, yes. Oh, yeah. As Mike says, the nope rope. This is a yes rope. This is the Cuddles Noodle, the most amazing snake you'll ever see. Ball pythons are fabulous.
Is Mike not a snake guy?
He should. I don't know.
Imagine he is. It's like sporting.
A nope rope is venomous. So remember that.
Oh, really? That's really a word.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for Fury. Thank you. We have so many people in the house tonight. Oh my goodness, I can't keep up with all these comments. They're just flowing.
It's gonna be flowing all night. So.
Oh gosh, pretty baby. Me or the snake?
I'm open to any love whatsoever. Hit me.
He loves all nope ropes.
In the meantime, man, I want to give a shout out, honestly, to all our subscribers. We've got an uptick in subscribers in the last week. We've got about 20 new subscribers to our YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the like, love, and support on that as well. We have a lot to kill our guests coming up all the way through the month of October and November. But tonight, tonight is like, I feel like a kid in a candy store, honestly, Roxy. When you told me we were having this gentleman on the show tonight, I was like, all right, so I have to cram on all things drumming, because now I'm in something that I'm like, you know, guitar is great, bass is great, other instruments are awesome. I've always been in love with drums, man. I think it's just because they are the heartbeat of everything, I think.
It is definitely. And then you add another question. Can you drum standing up? Dun dun dun.
or sideways or upside down or like anything.
Or
like
add elements to it with the DJing and he's got so many electronic features added to everything. Oh my goodness. DRMAGDN, who is on the show tonight, I'm so excited for, because he's definitely paved a way. He's made his own path, hasn't he?
Yeah, like I've been studying up on this gentleman, and honestly, I could sit here and talk about it all night, man. But I guess we'll let the man do it himself.
Absolutely. So, bringing to you guys with W4CY Radio, Talk 4 TV, and Music Familiar Productions, Roxy and Antman presents to you DRMAGDN.
Yes.
Thank
you for having me, guys. You guys rock.
Yes.
What up?
What's going on, man? How are you this evening?
Freaking amazing. Freaking amazing. It's been a great week, great couple months. Things have been awesome. It's amazing. I'm just stoked to be here.
We're stoked that you're here too. First question that popped in: can you sing while you're playing?
Believe it or not, so that's the thing too. I do production, I do songwriting, I do all my videos, I do absolutely everything by myself. And I do sing all the parts on my records, and I sing lead on every track, but then I outsource it to guys and gals who are really good. Like, I got all my friends from The Voice and American Idol to sing the tracks, but I originally sing and write all the lyrics and everything. But live, I do actually sing along to my songs and other remixes and things that I do and everything. So yeah, Mike Bates, what up, bro? I do sing while playing, yes.
You're amazing. You really are. I've seen so many videos of you. I've been totally intrigued with you for the last 2 months, and just devouring all that you've done, and you're empowering, and you're uplifting and inspiring, and you're not just out there just drumming. You have a goal in mind, right? You have intentions set in play, right?
Yeah. No, it's a lot. Roxy, thank you. And you're a badass for wearing a snake on air right now. That is so cool. Yeah, not my kind of thing. I mean, snakes means I'm more of a dragon myself, so dragons and snakes don't necessarily mean,
Okay,
work
dragon
well,
next
but it's
week.
cool.
Noted. Dragon next week.
if we ever get our own a studio, like I'm in my studio, she's in hers, like there's no way she's bringing that to work. No way.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Like once we get a studio and we're all in the same, no. Over there, maybe over there.
Exactly, right?
He's so sweet. Just look at his little face. Look at
I mean,
that.
he is pretty freaking cute, let me tell you, but
It's cute from right there.
exactly, right there. Man says it best.
Oh man. So honestly, man, first and foremost, dude, thank you so much for your talent. It's a breath of fresh air to see a drummer that not only, and I'm sorry, this is an honest music industry driven show, a drummer that has a voice that says something, that actually does something other than just sits there and says, well, I'm the drummer. Okay, what is that really? Like in 2021, what really is that?
And that's kind of the center of what this is all about, actually. It's a good point, because I've produced and music directed a ton of major artists, all the major labels, like tons of pop artists and hip-hop and R&B, and then, I played with tons of metal and progressive metal bands and fusion and jazz stuff. So it is interesting playing all the styles over the years to have your own thing and your own voice. I kind of spun the musical wheel of genres. And I somehow ended up as an EDM, DJ, drummer hybrid kind of a thing, which is very interesting. It's very futuristic. And the coolest part is I get to do everything by myself. But my original inspiration for doing this is my favorite drummer of all time, Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich is the most badass guy ever. I mean, he was doing stuff that is still being deconstructed today. But he came from vaudeville. He came from, he was the second highest paid vaudeville star of all time at the age of 3, and he was a tap dancer. He drummed, he did some stand-up. He was able to do the entire vaudeville thing. And then he eventually had his own show, and he eventually got into jazz really hardcore, which was the pop music of the time. And he was playing dance band pop music with big bands. and he was the featured drummer, and then he led his own big bands and he did his own thing. But if he was alive today, I'm like the gritty, dark, cyberpunk reboot of Buddy Rich. So if Buddy Rich showed up today, that's what he would be doing. He would be doing like drumming, DJing, playing pop kind of EDM kind of stuff, and that whole thing. That's what's up. Yeah.
Everybody in the chat saying how much of a beast that Buddy Rich was, and I can totally agree with them. Yes, I love where you got your inspiration with that for sure. Yeah. We do have a question here. Fury wants to know, what's your favorite song to play?
Oh God, that's a tricky one. So one of my most favorite things to do is, since it's just me on stage, so when I'm leading a band or I'm doing things, with a full group of people or whatever, everything is pretty much predetermined. But when I'm playing live, it's me with the crowd, and whatever song I throw at them, I see if they really react to it. And then if they react to that song, I try another one in that kind of vibe and style and everything, and I just keep on building and building. And if a song doesn't hit, I'll kind of go on to another one very, very quickly. And I just keep on mixing, no stop, and that whole thing. So one of the most favorite songs recently to play is Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer, doing a remix of that one, which has been really cool. And, I'm from Jersey originally, so it's like, okay, Jersey boy, that's what's up and everything. That's really fun because it's a big sing-along. And out of my own tunes, there's, I want to say Riot. It's the most aggressive of my tunes. It sounds like Paramore meets Steve Aoki and Knife Party and Nine Inch Nails. It's very aggressive and everything. But it has kind of a cool groove in the beginning, and it gets really angry and aggressive. So those are my two favorite right now. But you may ask me next week, it's going to be another tune because the crowd just loves it. But that's
a true artist right there, because everything changes depending on your mood and how your soul is feeling at that moment. So I can definitely value your thoughts on that one. I'm impressed with you also because you do some crazy live, being in the New York area, you do these random corner street kind of plays as well, right? You just bring out the drum set and you just let loose.
That's where I started the whole DRMAGDN idea. So this was, God, I don't even know how long ago it's been, but I actually went viral doing a series of videos with DRMAGDN fully spelled out, and when I started doing them, it was like mid to early YouTube, and I decided, okay, I actually played my friend's studio in Brooklyn. He owned this floor with a great recording studio in Brooklyn, and it was in Williamsburg, showed up and everything. And one day they were like, hey, we want to take you to the roof. You can see Manhattan from here. I walk up to the roof. I'm like, oh, I got to play up here. I'm like, wait a second. Drum solos are getting kind of old and boring. Look, we could all do these crazy things and go super fast and do crazy coordination, stick flips, all that. But for me, I was like, let me do something different. And I remember seeing Buddy Rich do the Muppet Show, where he drummed from like the side of the stage all the way onto stage, and then he did a battle with Animal, which is freaking amazing. But he drummed the whole theater as he's walking, and it was seamless and really cool. I was like, let me try to do that up the entire Brooklyn building, and it went viral. And I got into it was like me and Ozzy and Alice Cooper on the cover of Metal Hammer magazine. And I was just kind of I'm just a drummer or whatever. They're like big artists and everything. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I wound up, doing that video, and then I followed that video up with drumming across Times Square in one take, and like placing a bunch of kits across Times Square and getting permits and all that stuff. And then I did a third one that was the Queen's Unisphere, like Men in Black, the big globe and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. And so that was the beginning of the DRMAGDN idea as being, this crazy drummer superhero, like kind of a thing. And then after doing that for a little bit and getting more pop gigs and everything and touring, I realized, wait a second, I am DRMAGDN. And if I shorten the name, it's a little bit more Skrillex looking, and I can do like a DJ drum thing with my laptop and pads and different stuff on a giant kit, and just show up and do that anywhere. I can play with an artist, I can play with a singer, I can play with a band, but I just play by myself normally. So, but that was the beginning. That was the beginning of the whole DRMAGDN brand. So
And throughout all of it, you kept this amazing energy because you stand up and play, and you incorporate so many different elements into your shows. So how
I'm
do
a
you keep up with
stand-up
this
guy.
energy?
No, but the standing up too was another thing. So I'll show you my kit behind me too. This is the stationary live stream kit. This is my main studio, and this kit took me a while to build. So I'm fully endorsed with Pearl drums, Pisces cymbals, Evans drum heads, Vickford drumsticks, and then a host of others. I have tons and tons that were nice enough to work out deals and everything. But this kit is really, really perfectly designed, so you can actually see. It's really big. It's really crazy. You can see it all around and everything. That's that side. That's that side. But you can play this kit seated with double bass, like playing fast metal kind of stuff. You can play it standing, right out in front. So there's a mini kit that I play standing, and then I can play the drums behind my head, either backwards, or I can jump and scream and play. And I always have a mic, which you can see right there. There's a mic right here where I'm always talking and hyping the crowd and the whole thing. So there's a lot of interaction and everything that happens whenever I play live, or I do a live stream or whatever kind of Zoom concert or whatever, during the pandemic. But it took me a long time to really get every single angle of all the drums and make sure you can see clear sight lines of everything. And it's all driven off of Ableton Live, and it's driven off of Roland SPD pad with foot pedals everywhere. So I can actually DJ and transition and drum. So I can do everything that someone like David Guetta would do, on a normal gig. And then I can play crazy tribal drums on top, jumping and screaming at the same time. So it's really, really great.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So I take a look at your drum kit there, and I think of a whole host of legendary drummers throughout my entire life as being on this planet. And I look back, and the first drummer that spikes my curiosity when I look at your drum set is the drummer from Def Leppard.
Oh, Def Leppard. They're great, man. And that's a story and a half. The one-armed drummer, I mean, he basically was playing with two arms initially, crushing it. And then he literally got into a really bad accident, and he lost his arm. And he's still playing with just three limbs, better than most drummers play with four. And that band has had a ton of hits, as you know, and he's still touring and playing to this day, and it's so cool. That's such a cool, great guy. Rick Allen. Yep.
Yeah, Rick Allen. Yep. How do you deal with improvisation on the road, DRMAGDN? How do you handle the improvisation of everything?
Especially overseas. You've been to so many countries, right? And you've done the Olympic.
I'll tell you the Olympic story. That's a crazy story.
Yes.
And I've done Giant Stadium sold out. I've done Carnegie Hall, Lincoln Center, and it's just crazy to even remember all the gigs that I've done. It's really cool because every gig as a musician and as an artist, and especially pandemic-wise, every gig could be your last. Not to be dark, but it's like you treat every gig as your last gig, so you really try to give it your all. You try to do the best you can, and then you have the crowd, you have the interaction. It's such a cool experience. But I'll tell you a bunch of stories about the Olympics. But to answer Antman's question, so improv versus what I'm doing. So on my records, I take a very specific production process where I'll write a song, and on the record, I have a lot of EDM drum sounds that I have for the song to sound modern and pop and radio friendly and everything. And I'll put my tribal drums in there too, sometimes as fills and sometimes as little things that pop out. I love Phil Collins and In the Air Tonight, so there's always a giant drum fill that's like Phil Collins, ba-dum, 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 bum, bum, in a song usually. And the majority of it's, a little bit more tame. Live, what I do is I'll actually take those parts and play them, but also improvise around them for more energy. So there'll be more playing, there's more intensity, there's more stuff to do. Live, it always is playing the beat along with what I've had on the record, but I'm adding more to interact with the crowd, basically. And there's tons of stick flips and, a lot of jumping, a lot of screaming. And then, sometimes I stop and I make people sing along to everything. And, and I do actually a decent amount of singing, as Mike was asking and everything. So it's pretty cool.
another thing Mike asked was, what was your favorite snare you ever played on? And then I also have a question on, how much time did it take to learn all these tricks that you do? Was it a natural, just you picked it up, or did you really practice for long periods of time?
Oh, those are really good questions, guys. So with the snare, so I've been with Pearl for about a decade now at this point, and they were my first drum set that I ever got, professionally as a kid. That was the first one I went to the music store to buy. I had a cheap throw around kit from some attic in New Jersey as a kid and everything, but the first new kit, and I still have that kit. And it's very similar to this size of a kit. Like, I got a big kit when I was a kid. And the cool part was the snares. I was always a snare fan. So I had a bunch of different snares. I love wood snares. I love metal snares and all that stuff. Like the Bonham snare is really cool. I've got a ton. But I had a fan randomly hit me up from Germany. And he said, hey, man, I do cyberpunk-inspired snare drums. And I'm a big fan of yours. I just want to make you a snare. And he literally handmade this snare right here. And this is my signature DRMAGDN snare. And the signature DRMAGDN snare lights up. The lights are off right now, but it lights up in thousands of colors. It has a matrix. It's matrix inspired. So it says Charlie Z DRMAGDN on it. And it is an acrylic shell, which is a see-through shell. He made it hazy. He made the shell hazy, and then he put a CO2 lasered a frame on top of carbon steel, and it shows like the matrix code on the snare. And I'll link to some stuff down the road, for all the snare stuff and everything. But that's a signature snare through him, and it's Inva, and it's crazy. Like, and it sounds amazing. It's like really intense sounding, and you can actually tune it really tense because the tuning lugs are actually really futuristic. So that is my favorite snare. And I hand designed it with him for about a year and a half. We went back and forth, and now I have a signature snare through him. And obviously Pearl is my main, endorser. So, but that's my favorite snare. And the other question was, what was the other question again, Roxy? Did
you practice really hard a long time to learn how to do all your stuff?
Oh God, yes.
Okay. Stick. Did you practice?
That's a really good question too. So with regards to that, this is an interesting thing. When I was always a pretty good drummer growing up, but I didn't have a really good foundation in technique until I started to really take drumming seriously and sit down with, real actual private lessons with Nick Schubel was my jazz teacher as a kid, and then I studied with Joe Bergamini, who is more of an educator kind of drummer who has a lot of endorsements. He showed me the industry and the business. And then Tommy Igoe is actually a pretty famous drummer. He's Lion King's original drummer, and he played with Lauryn Hill on record and all sorts of people, New York guy. And he's the guy who kicked my ass, almost like Whiplash, the movie Whiplash, to get my technique really together. And that's where I finally had to make the choice. Am I going to take this seriously, or am I just going to kind of putter along, being good, or okay or decent, or I can do a couple things well. And that gave me the foundation of being really awesome. And then I continue, like every gig, every show that I do, every single rehearsal I do, I try to do something slightly different and get a little bit better. And over many, many, many years, I've gotten really good. And the funny part, though, is when I finally transitioned into being a solo artist is when I gave myself the full permission to do whatever it is that I do with all the energy, with all the intensity, with the jumping, screaming, stick flips. And even when I'm recording now, and you can't hear them on the record, but I will do stick flips while I'm recording songs because it's just part of like the way that I play now. I'm just really intense. I'm like, stick flip, yeah, whatever. It's just part of who I am now. But it took a while to just be confident enough to just be okay with that, and some people, when they hire me as a drummer for them, want me to tone it down a bit, and I will, of course. But a lot of people are like, man, just do more crazy shit. Yeah, go crazy, the whole thing. So it's cool. That's my vibe.
What would you... So thinking about the drums and all that, and thinking about your instruction and where you've come from, and I love how you tie in, how important it is to know where you've been, to know where you're going. What would you say to other people out there? You know, how do you look for the perfect drum teacher or the perfect instructor? How do you, if you've never done it before, how do you get into it safely without hitting some walls? I mean, we're all going to hit walls in the industry, but you know, what suggestions do you have to some of the new drummers or some of the guys that want to advance or better themselves and their band or them, you know?
That's a great question. Just hit me up at DRMAGDN, and you can get everything you ever need for anything. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's really down to being really focused on what it is that you want to do. You know, if you want to learn how to set up a drum set correctly, you go to YouTube. There's a lot of really cool tutorials. If you want to learn like how to, you know, figure out how to play a bunch of pop songs, you know, you're going to want to find a guy who's a little bit younger and hipper. If you want to find out, you know, metal technique, that's a very specific thing. You know, there's a lot of speed involved. There's a lot of precision. There's a lot of difficult, you know, polyrhythm kind of things and everything. So you be really focused on what exactly you want to actually learn to do and be a little bit more focused on that. And there's some really good local teachers that you start out with, is what I would say. So if you're in, you know, Oregon right now and you're just wanting to learn how to play, you know, ask around your music store and go to the guy, you know, try a couple guys there and build your technique up pretty well and get to the point where it's like, okay, now I can specialize. I want to be the best jazz drummer ever, like I was as a kid. I was like, I want to be the guy who, you know, everyone can play jazz and everything. Funny part is I did jazz for a while. I did well at it. You know, I played a ton of great gigs and the whole thing. And eventually I was like, okay, so jazz is an art form that there's not a lot of money in specifically. So I can keep doing it and kicking my butt to do it and really hustle, but I have to teach a lot then. But if I played other styles of music that are a little bit more popular, like pop music, you know, hip hop and R&B or that kind of stuff, I kind of transitioned a little bit more into that, and I became, you know, financially successful. Years later, with the Mohawk, I still get the call to this day. Every year, I do a giant jazz gig with the top jazz musicians I'm the music director for at Carnegie Hall, playing jazz, and I show up in a tuxedo, full tuxedo that they let me keep the Mohawk. And I literally walking in with the Mohawk and playing the stuff that I wanted to do as a kid, jazz, you know? So it's almost like my hobby gig now. I can still do it. It's still really fun to do. I'll take a couple gigs here and there for fun, but it's not my focus of the style that's going to draw all my financial, you know, situation together. You know, those are the other gigs. And it's nice to have balance between gigs that are musical, gigs that are, you know, about the musicians and the networking. There are gigs that are really cool for, you know, prestige and everything. But then there are gigs that, you know, just pay well. And you balance all of these things together and you can actually build a pretty cool long-term career, which is what I've been fortunate enough to do. And a lot of it has to do with, you know, vibe, personality, and, you know, being cool to talk to people and hang out with people and have people think of you like, oh, Charlie Z with the Mohawk, DRMAGDN, get him on that gig, man. He's great. There's a lot of that going on too behind the scenes, you know. So do you think shortening up your name, because sitting down and really thinking about DRMAGDN, spelling that out, and how many radio stations you'd have to, like, I don't think people really think about how much you have to do to put yourself out there, you know, and trying to put the whole name out there, you know. What do you suggest to people out there? Because I've always said for a long time that you have, like, the attention span of a human being in 2021 is like the size of a peanut, if not smaller. So you have, like, maybe instead of 30 seconds, you have like 10 seconds to make an impression. And you found a way to do it just by shortening the name up, you know, staying with it and finding a niche that fits for you. You know, what would you suggest, you know, that really drove you to that point of view, to that angle? That's a great question. So that specific question, I wound up going to college. I went to college at a liberal arts school undergrad for music. And I came out and I still got, you know, really good scholarships and all that. I was a smart kid growing up. And I wanted to get to go to grad school for jazz drum set performance. And I got into NYU, and NYU had a great jazz program for, grad school. I was like, cool, I'm going to do this. It's going to be great. And then I misread the form. And after max scholarship, I think it was $40K for only half of it. I thought it was for the full thing. It was $80,000. And I looked at that as like, oh no, I was a month out of actually going to the school. And I'm like sitting there going like, I can't afford another $40,000. $80,000 to just play jazz. I couldn't. So I said, okay, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to go pro. I'm going to hang out with as many jazz musicians, rock, pop people, and just try to get as many gigs as possible. Oh my God, this is insane. I can't, whatever. So the point is, at that point is when I realized, okay, I'm now a pro drummer. This is now what I have to do. And taking that jump is when I had to really figure out the branding and marketing. Right after school, though, right after undergrad, I was like, I have a big student debt, even though I had, great scholarships. So I took a job at the local newspaper selling ads for a coupon book that no one looked at. And that helped me pay back my student loans in about a year and a half, 2 years. So now I was debt free. So that was a really good thing. But in that experience, that's what made me be able to be a professional musician, artist, producer, music director, drummer, because I was able to learn branding, marketing, sales, talking to people, going through everyone. You know what I mean? That's where I learned branding. And branding, that's when eventually I figured out, okay, people hear more with their eyes than their ears, right? And that's when I got the mohawk. All of a sudden, people called me. I went from Charlie Zeleny, that no one can say, they'd butcher my last name, to Charlie Z, snappy, very easy. And then DRMAGDN with the whole thing. Some people have mentioned that in passing in different, Google search engine articles and things. That wasn't me. So me truncating it to the shortened version, DRMAGDN up here, that is only me. So when you type those letters in, it only comes up as me. Funny thing, though, is when I first chose the name, Google kept on correcting, going, did you mean dragon? I'm like, no, motherfucker, I didn't mean dragon. No. And eventually, since going viral, over the past 2 years or so, and, getting a ton of followers and a lot of people really digging it and like doing headlining shows, now you type it into Google, it says DRMAGDN, and I come up on the sidebar and everything. So I'm like, take that SEO, take that.
There you go, SEO, yes.
Yeah. But the funny part is because of that, I literally made, I put a dragon, almost like a Mortal Kombat dragon underneath the D in my logo. And I wound up actually releasing an entire line of clothes with that dragon. This is the dragon.
Wow.
So my mascot is actually a dragon.
Because
Because
I went with a reptile instead of a snake, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you think is the biggest reason why bands and artists in 2021 are having such a hard time, aside from the pandemic?
I mean, I'm going to be completely flat out honest and kind of an asshole about this.
That's what we're here for.
And this is going to be some real talk. The reason is because it's all been done. We don't need another singer-songwriter that just sits there playing acoustic. We don't need another, band that just goes out there and plays. You need someone who's going to do something different with what they have. I'm not like reinventing the wheel here. I'm a good drummer who's a good producer, who's a good music director, who's putting together like really a bunch of different, skill sets and everything together. I have a cool look that people remember and all that. And then when you see it, you're like, oh, this is cool. This is different enough to be noteworthy that people will talk about. When I play a club, I've been doing, gigs on Bleecker Street at Red Lion, headlining a bunch recently to like 300-400, people a week and everything coming up. Looks like I have gigs probably the rest of the year there, right? And that's in New York City in the West Village and everything, and people just, between me and the other bands and different artists that they remember me. Because I'm different. Like I look different, I act different, I have different energy. There's a thing like, oh my God, he DJs and drums, So if you're a singer-songwriter, buy Ableton, get a Launchpad, Do what Ed Sheeran does. He loops, and he is an amazing singer, amazing songwriter, great player, great crowd, showman, and he loops things. Loop pedals are still really cool, and he could do a lot of really cool things with those. If you're a band, there's a band called Adam and the Metal Hawks, and they're a friend of mine, and they just hit 3 million followers on TikTok. Now, the guy is an amazing singer. He was on American Idol. He's a heavy dude. He reminds everyone of Jack Black. And he wound up, he's got a great rock voice. So he started a rock band. And their whole TikTok is doing covers of tunes their own way, but making it really fun and entertaining. So doing more than just the music is really required at this point, and doing things that give value to people, number one. Like, value is everything. Like this podcast, there's so many things that we talk about. There's so many things that you guys talk about that give value to people, which is why people are tuning in. It's really, really cool. Yes, I'm looking at Bill. Definitely. Originality,
yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Shock value as well. I mean, you got to find your niche, right? You got to find what you can impress people with.
Well, I think the whole the Insta famous thing, like a lot of people, set out to have this idea, and then it either goes well beyond what they thought, or it never goes anywhere. And either one of those positions, if you're not in the right mindset, you shoot yourself in the foot before you even get your kid out of the car,
That's one big thing. And I'll say this too, because I have blown up on all the different socials, and it's really rare to have a decent crowd on all of them, if that makes sense. Like, I have 15K on TikTok. I've got like 250K on Insta. I've got, I think 1.7 million on YouTube, and I think it's 2 million plus on SoundCloud. So I blew up on all of the different platforms. And the biggest thing to do is having such a clear vision of what you're doing. Like, it really does come down to there was a podcast that I was on the other day, and we were talking, if you were to drop in like a bunch of dye into a swimming pool, it would turn that whole pool to purple, or blue or green, whatever color and everything. But if you drop that same dye in an ocean, right, it just dissipates. It goes away. You can't even see it. So the idea is to find yourself a bunch of smaller groups of people that really dig what you do, and then build upon that. Be really focused on what it is you're doing. So, for any sort of branding and marketing and intensity, like, Instagram is good for a couple things. Do those things. Right. TikTok is great for other things. Do those things on TikTok. But use it in a way that's not just getting followers and likes and comments for doing something dumb. It's like, hey, look at my dog. It's the cutest dog in the world. But if you're a singer-songwriter and you don't show your dog, no one cares about your song. You know what I mean? It's like it's really that simple. So you have to do something like Charlie Puth on TikTok right now, destroying it. He's showing his behind-the-scenes process, and he does it in a 15-second to 40-second clip. He goes, what if I did a guitar like this? What if I did keyboard like this? I made a lyric like this. Oh my God. And he goes like, that sounds great. Oh shit, that sounds bad. Never mind. How about this? Nope, that sounds bad. That sounds bad. Oh my God, that's it. And then that's his new hit single. That's really cool and entertaining. And even if you weren't a musician, you'd be like, that is so cool to see behind. Right. That's where you get the value. So you have to play the game for each of the socials if you want to build, and for me, my latest single, Get Tough, went really big and viral. It hit 6 million plays and views in a month. So I was like, oh my God. And the track is this big, massive, epic sports anthem song. It has Manny Cabo from The Voice and La Voz, the Spanish version of The Voice. It has Danny Flan, who did the horns for All the Lights from Kanye and Rihanna. It has the strings from Viva La Vida, Coldplay, Dave Eggar. Al Cardi is the bass player from Christina Aguilera and David Guetta. And Luca Pretolesi, I mix all my own tunes. I can master, but I have him do the cherry on top on this one. He's done Major Lazer, Lean On, and he's done a ton of other Bieber. He's done Blackpink. He's done a ton of Grammy-winning records and everything. And I put it together. It's got horns. It's got an orchestra. The lyric is "Get tough like Rocky, enough excuses, baby." And there's an entire merch line that goes along with it. And it's literally, you can see right here, it's like, whoop, "Get tough like Rocky," and then "enough excuses, baby." Tank tops, there's yoga pants, there's crop tops, there's, water bottles, there's everything. And that whole thing is hitting the fitness communities. It's hitting the gyms. It's hitting all these people now. And it got me on an XM Sirius satellite radio on the NFL channel. And they never have any sort of unknown like indie artists on, but they love the song so much because it's a sports anthem and it's getting synced. And, different people like, big brands are really like, okay, which one is going to grab it first kind of thing. But they put me on. They interviewed me like a big David Deal is a New York Giant. He's a Hall of Famer and everything. So these things are all happening because this is such a focused song that goes beyond just the song. The rest of my songs are great too. Riot and, 3-Page Letter and Not Alone, and they all have their thing. But that song did something more. And it took me many songs to get there even. So that's the vibe.
I love that vibe. And the making of the video, I'm sure, was interesting for you as well. I have the video and I want everybody to see it, but will you tell a little bit about the making of this video for the audience and how you incorporated the Get Tough scenario with everything? Okay,
so what happened was I originally, so I wrote the song on my laptop by myself, all the lyrics, all the melodies, all the harmonies, everything, the full arrangement and everything. And then I brought in my friends because they're my friends. I was like, let me just throw them on the track. Manny crushed it on vocal. And I listened and I was like, oh my God, this could be like a really big, as, Mike is saying, that licensing money. That's going to be, the ESPNs, the Nikes, the Pelotons, that kind of thing. Everyone is now, it's being thrown around a lot. So we'll see where it ends up.
You're going to get one
everywhere.
Yeah, one NFL player is going to be like, hey, I like that. Or he gets caught in the gym jamming out to it, whatever.
That's all
across the board, even with like the BMX, not only just NFL.
Yeah. And it's literally all the things. So what I did on the video is I had the audio, I did the audio and everything. And I was like, okay, I really want to have, really crazy video. So I actually grabbed, a bunch of people and did clips of a reverse Rocky theme with girls being Rocky, girl power, doing all the training montages. And it was so badass. It was the lyric video. Before it was the lyric video, it was the main video. And I sat there and I looked at it at the end of cutting it up because I do all my own video. I sat there and I finished and I was like, crap, this is the lyric video. I have to do better than this video. And this video came out crazy. And that's when I got submissions from all over the world, from all different groups of people, where they sent me clips of different cinematographers, filmmakers, and everything that, jumping, flipping, BMX, extreme sports, and then football, baseball, basketball, like every single sport. And what I did is I choreographed it. Looks like almost like a ballet of just human insanity and intensity. I threw myself in there, just a couple clips here and there, and I threw Manny in one quick clip. But it came out really, really freaking cool. So
it is definitely an amazing video. So I have to play it now.
Awesome.
Yes. So here we go. Here is Get Tough with Manny Cabo. Is that how I say it?
Yep, Manny Cabo. DRMAGDN.
DRMAGDN. Here we go, guys.
Life hits real hard, knocking you out. And when you're down, can turn it around. Get tough, get tough, get tough, get tough like Rocky. Oh, enough excuses, baby.
Oh my wow.
Man.
You're incredible. All of that was incredible. And if that doesn't inspire people, I don't know what's wrong with them, basically.
I want some swag. I want some Rocky swag. I admit now I need to go and order me a bunch of stuff to.
And that's the thing too. It turned into this whole thing. You know, it hit on Submit Hub. Submit Hub is one of the platforms that a lot of press use now to get into podcasts, into the media, into, you know, magazines and all that. It hit #1 of the week, and it knocked David Guetta out, which was really a big surprise. And it hit #1 trending on TikTok because a bunch of influencers, you know, picked it up and used it.
Awesome.
And then it's number 15 of all time out of 21 million submissions. And that, to me, I was like, holy crap, man, because the song represents the underdog. It's the, you know, human achievement. Like, that whole video, it makes me so pumped to just watch it again right now. It's like, yeah, I want to go out and like do all that.
Yeah.
But I can't even skydive. I've never done any of that. Like, all that shit's cool shit that I can't do. I can just do the drums and stick flips and that stuff, you know. But that element, that vibe, that feeling, that's the stuff that's been in all the tunes that I've released and recorded. You know, I've gotten into American Songwriter magazine for Not Alone, and that's a very heartfelt, you know, love, brotherhood, community, you know, you and your friends, and that whole kind of song. And that had Velvet Revolver's singer on it, you know. And that got, you know, right next to Nile Rodgers from Chic, myself, and then it was Alan Jackson, the country legend, you know, that kind of thing. And then the other tunes, Say Less, Be More, with Ali Guercio from American Idol, that got into New York Times. So each of these songs is having its own little path. But Get Tough by far has been blowing everything else out the water. It's really, really, really cool just to be able to be here and go from playing for everyone else and making everyone else famous and producing their hits and music directing their live show and all that, and kind of cutting out the middleman and just calling up my friends who are really big undiscovered, you know, singers and all that, and having them sing the song that's a hit already that I wrote, and just putting it out directly to people and having them love it. So it's a really cool experience. And, you know, I have a whole, you know, crazy plan for 2022 and, you know, touring a lot of festivals and a lot of, you know, other big, you know, some headlining tours, some opening tours, you know, and really getting out there to, you know, having the pandemic end, fingers crossed, and get out there and really do what we love doing, is performing, meeting people, you know, rocking and rolling.
Rocking and rolling. So 2 big key elements that I want the audience to take home tonight is adaptability and also get tough like Rocky, right?
Yeah, get tough like Rocky. I know
I can't get any deeper than that, right?
No, it's really that. And there's just an element of, you know, being up against all odds. And one of the biggest things that I'll leave this with too is all of the success that I've personally had in the industry, in music and business. I have a massive mountain of failures. All you're seeing right now are the little pinnacles of the success that I've, you know, had. And there's a ton of heartbreak. There's a ton of, you know, Rocky won, he loses, but he still wins because he was a contender. You know what I mean? And that's what the element of all this stuff is. And, you know, I'm going to keep on writing a ton of great songs. I'm going to keep on doing it and everything. And, you know, just eventually I hope to be a household name. I hope to be someone who's around for a long time, doing some really cool stuff. If not, you know, I'll just drum and record and produce with other people, and that's all that. But you can find me. I'm on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. DRMAGDN. DRMAGDN. That's on everything. So, you know, please follow, please like, say hi to me. I'll say hi, I'll follow you back and everything. The merch is beyond a merch line. They're fashion lines at this point, and they were shown at Fashion Week New York City this past month, actually. So
9/11 show, you headlined that, and that was phenomenal. I saw a little bit of video clips for that. So
yes, and I headlined that and everything, and it went really amazing. Hundreds of people showed up, and it was for charity. And I played with all of the artists, so Kim Sledge, Sister Sledge, and Felipe Rose from Village People, played YMCA with him, and all the different artists were amazing. It was such an amazing event. Shout out to Soho Johnny, Eileen Shapiro for hooking this up and everything. World Star PR, that's Jimmy Star and everyone. So it's really awesome. Thank you guys so much. You've been awesome.
Thank you for doing what you do as an artist, man, and a musician. It was definitely an honor and privilege to have you come hang out with us tonight, man. Before I let you out the door, though, I do have one question for you. Is there somebody in your life that told you you're never going to do what you're doing? Is there somebody that you particularly I'm going to prove this person wrong?
Not only one person. There are people every day that still tell me that. And that's the funniest part. After doing this many things successfully and cool, there are still people who tell me I can't do the next thing. And one of my biggest fun things to do is prove them wrong, is always do the impossible. That's the vibe. That's one of the best feelings, is having someone who doesn't see your value and doesn't see that you're really cool, you're doing cool things, and you have to prove them wrong. And I've done it just about every time at this point. So yes, it's almost weekly or monthly, Antman. I would say that people still do that to me to this day. So
yeah, I want people, fans, to see that, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, even when you have a beautiful kit, it's still stressful.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's all hard work, and the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's what I found. It comes down to the dedication, the work, organization, but trying to be as cool as possible and positive, and give as much. I'm trying to give way more ever than I ever take, period. Like, I want to leave people better than they are when I first met them. That's my whole goal in life. The end.
You definitely won me over with that. Your personality was just through the roof, and I fell in love with all that you had to give to the world and all your adaptations that you made. And so I want the audience to understand that these adaptions are kind of, if you want to go somewhere, you gotta kind of make your own groove,
Yep.
Your own flow.
Yep.
Do what DRMAGDN's doing. He's doing it great. So
rock and roll.
Rock and roll. And before we go, because we're about out of time, is there anything else that you would like to leave the audience with? Some type of growth or anything like that you want to share?
We need to get him to Ohio.
I know.
I've played Ohio a ton. I've done Columbus. I've done Dayton. I've done.
Sorry, I just totally.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, Ohio is great.
Sorry, it's the end of the show. I was like, oh, that would be awesome.
I
found out it was in my area, and I'm like, I missed him in my area. I'm like, why?
No, Ohio is going to be dope. The colleges out there party really hard too, and I'll probably do some of the college arenas and everything and that whole thing. But no, I mean, it really comes down to once you actually you find out your own path and you trust your gut and intuition. Your gut and intuition really knows what's best for you. When things aren't right in a relationship, in life, in business, in anything you're doing, trust it. Because you're 99% sure that there's something going on that your brain didn't even grab yet. And once you see that and you get a vibe, double down, triple down, quadruple down. This whole DRMAGDN thing came from a gut instinct saying, you know what? Music is going to be different in 10 years, in 20 years, and I'm going to have to do everything by myself because of the way socials and all this stuff are going. I'm going to have to learn digital marketing, branding, media. I do my own videos. I write my own songs. All that stuff is future-proofing me. It's future-proofing everybody because now we can literally just jump on this and do this together. We would have had to be in the same room, in the same space. I would have to fly in and the whole thing. This is awesome. Like, what you guys are doing is actually doing it. You're moving the needle of culture, and I really appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everyone who's really trying to do cool things.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. If you know anybody that could benefit from it, man, send them our way. We love meeting new people and collaborating. So is there anybody that comes to mind? Send them our way, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're in a new age now, and if we learn together in this scene alone, we're only going to do better, right? We're not here to compete. We're here to do better and be strong and be vivid and out there, So I really appreciate you being on the show tonight, DRMAGDN. You're so inspiring.
Thank you.
Yes, and we definitely all have a lot to learn from you. So everybody go check them out. I've got the website streaming at the bottom at DRMAGDN.com. You can check them out on any of the socials.
That's it.
Yep.
Nice. Rock and roll. Thanks, guys, for having me. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. And thanks for everyone commenting. You know, Mike and Bill and Mark and all you guys for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. You guys rock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so before we end the show, real quick, he was amazing. I love him. He's awesome. Make sure you go and share this video, like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel with the Music Familiar Productions.
Yes, yes.
Well as this, we're brought to you by Talk 4 TV as well as W4CY. So we've got a great lineup for you guys for the rest of the next 2 months, right?
Oh man! So what we're gonna be doing in the next week or so, we are gonna unveil an entire guest calendar all the way through. It's gonna be one promo video for our entire calendar coming up. So there will be no more excuses on not knowing what's coming up next. We're going to make sure we get this all up in your face. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, get out there, support these hardworking artists, musicians, and everybody in this industry. We're kind of getting back to life, I feel like, a little bit in some places.
Yes, and thank you for bearing with me for wrangling my snake tonight. He's been all over the place.
Yeah, you did a hell of a job. I admit it. I was worried. I was worried when we started because he was getting a little crazy, and I saw you kind of looking like, "Oh, don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!" But you did good.
In control.
But well, thank you guys so much for all of your work and support and coming in. And you know, again, we've had so many new subscribers to the YouTube channel in the course of the time. Thank you guys so much. And the TikTokers on my TikTok, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I appreciate y'all. A little different kind of hangout session. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to link our TikTok to this so we can go live on there too. There's gotta be a way.
There has to be a way. I've been thinking about that too, because you know, nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing will hold us back.
No.
Get tough, right? Get tough.
Yes.
We got this. So,
sorry.
Thank you guys. Please tune in next Monday at 9 here on W4CY Talk 4 TV and Music Familiar Productions. We got you. We love your feedback. We love that you're a part of our family, and we're gonna grow and we're gonna make things amazing. So make sure you check out DRMAGDN at www.DRMAGDN.com.
Yes, do that. Yes, yes, it is. Yes. And wash your hands.
Don't forget to wash your hands. Definitely if you're one of the snakes. But and check me out, standoutserpents.com or
yes.
on Facebook.
Oh, damn. I totally Standout Serpents on TikTok, Instagram, and your .com too, right?
I went to the United States' biggest convention this weekend, and it was so amazing. So go check out my TikTok, the Roxy's Reptiles, and you'll see some clips about that. I met some pretty awesome people, and
awesome. Sweet.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here and being a part with us. So
see you guys.
Until then,
see you next
week. Yeah. Bye.